Hello, it's me. Yeah, it's me. Here, let me turn my volume down. I think my headphone might be picking them up. Okay, yeah, I fixed it. Sorry, I have these new headphones that are like fancy and open back. They're supposed to make it less. I get migraines really easily with headphones on, so it's supposed to help with that. But sometimes if the audio is too loud, they'll pick it up. It'll like leak out of the headphones. Anyways, hey, it's me. I'm still alive. There's already a hydration redeem. Yeah, good point actually. I have been having a lot of migraines, so I should be drinking a lot more water, but I forget. It's hard to remember. Okay, so we're gonna be playing Risk of Rain today. I know I said I was gonna continue playing Subnautica, and I do want to play it more. I'm just really tired today. I have a migraine. I just kind of want to chill and relax. If I knew how to refund points, I would refund points. I wonder if there's a way for me to just like gift points. I'm sure there probably is. I just don't know anything of value. Yeah, too dumb. Can't figure it out. Gave up. But anyways, Risk of Rain. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna chill. We're just gonna relax with it, and yeah, gonna take our time. I was gonna play on Monsoon, but like I said, I kind of just want to chill. So let's go easy mode. We're just gonna go and Rainstorm. We'll play with Huntress, and I think we're gonna leave it with no artifacts. We probably won't stream for super long today, but we'll see. We'll see. Are you guys all ready for the new year? I feel like that's a trick question. It's not like there's any real way to prepare for the new year, and in my opinion, it just kind of happens. It's just kind of suddenly you're there. I feel like since the beginning of the pandemic, I've been in like this state of like stasis, where it feels like almost like time isn't passing, but time is passing really quickly at the same time. I don't know if it's just because of like the lack of existing— oops, I missed. The lack of existing around other people, or like the viewpoint on the world has changed. It's like hard to define, but it feels like no time has passed, but also all the time has passed. Yeah, true, you go to bed and then suddenly it's a new year. It feels like everything just comes out of left field. Like it just, I don't know. When I was younger, it felt much more like prepared for the new year. You know, it was like new school year, new classes and stuff, like winter break. I don't know, there was just a lot involved with it, and so it felt like a changing of the seasons in the year. But like nowadays, I guess maybe since my life is more like streamlined, it doesn't feel that way anymore. I don't know, it's hard to— yeah, exactly. You close your eyes and suddenly 10 years has passed. Like it feels like it's really, really weird. I feel like it only happens to people after a certain age, or like, I don't know, once their brain decides that life is too boring to focus on, that it just like every day is less of an event and more of a routine. And I think maybe that's part of it. Because like, I don't know, I think about when I was younger and like there was a lot more looking forward to things and expectations. Yeah, exactly. Like the life part of it kind of expires and you become like very routine. And I don't know, like like I said, when I was younger, I had, you know, like, oh, there's a test coming up. Oh, there's like, I'm gonna hang out with my friends this weekend. Oh, there's this, there's that. Oh, I have this class on this day, but this class on this day. So everything was like much more like free-flowing, flexible, unpredictable in a way. But now it's like everything is so linear. There's not as much variety, even when you like put variety in your life. I don't know if that makes sense. When you get to that point that you feel that way, it's like it'll be like, yes, I understand. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like I don't know, it's like a game where you spend a large majority of the game grinding. You grind and you grind, your attempt is to get to level 100, you know? And then you get to level 100 and like you can't do anything anymore. Like there's nothing to do. You're too strong to like do anything of value. Like all the quests are very simple and straightforward. So you just enter this sort of cycle of repeating the same things without any actual enjoyment or change in it. And I think it's kind of like that, you know? Yeah, exactly. It's like you beat the boss and then you become the boss, but like nobody ever comes to try and beat you. You're always just like sitting chilling waiting for something to happen. Oh, that's exactly it. So I have this Omori jacket that just says waiting for something to happen, and that's kind of the feeling, is that your life is no longer a exciting preparation of the future. It's hoping that the future something will happen different from your normal, but it's just your day is a constant routine of the same. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, waiting for the next patch. It's just the devs stopped updating life. Oh, that's such a vibe. That's so shit, but it's so true. Yeah, it's like the game that the devs just left behind and didn't do anything else with. Exactly. But yeah, so I don't know. So New Year's is always like very weird to me because it almost feels like a dream. Like everyone's like, oh, look at this great thing, it's the new year. But it's like, in my head, I'm like, it's the same as it's always been. Nothing's changed. I just have to try to remember to write 24 instead of 23. Like, so I don't know, the new year is always sort of like weird for me because it's that vibe of like, yeah, no, new number to remember. It's that vibe of almost like I'm living in a simulation, you know, everything just cycles and repeats. But like, yeah, the only thing that changes is the number you have to write down on paperwork and stuff. But like, you're still gonna continue to fuck it up for the next 2 months. So all it's gonna do is cause you frustration, you know? It's not like there's enjoyment in it, or like, woohoo, 24 instead of 23, how exciting. No, it's just, fuck, I wrote the wrong date again. Yeah, it just, I don't know, it's weird. I definitely feel like life is just sort of a recycled day, a day that's constantly recycled and repeated. And it's, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say it's super disappointing, but like, it's not great. I don't know. I feel like as children, we have this idea that like our life is gonna be great and we're gonna like do things that we really enjoy and we're gonna buy the stuff we want and everything's gonna be great. But like, once you get there, get to that adulthood phase where you think that everything will just magically fit into place, you suddenly have this like fucking brick hit you in the face, and you realize that nothing's changed, you know? If anything, things might have actually gotten worse because now you have these intense responsibilities to uphold. Paying bills, going to your job daily, like, it feels like even less freedom than you had before, but you thought you'd have more freedom, you know? Yeah, exactly. Life's just a tutorial where you keep failing and then you just keep having to replay the level because you suck. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's interesting and weird at the same time. Where did the portal go? I forget where I saw it. Oh, there it is. Okay. It's just like very unusual in my brain. Like the concept of it is really weird to me. I don't know, everyone's the main character in their story, so they have this expectation of how things will be. What the fuck? Goddamn walloped me. And then when it's not that, we're all disappointed. But like, it's because we're told the whole time that it's gonna be something amazing. You know? And then we get here and we're just like, who fucking lied to me? Who fucking lied to me? Steve, was it you? Did you make up this bullshit that life is good? How fucking dare you? You know, like it just, I don't know, it almost feels like a betrayal of what your assumptions were of what life is. Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're young, you have the main character syndrome, where you're like, I'm the main character, everything's gonna go great for me. And then as you get older and things start going wrong and not being great, it's like more beaten into you that life isn't good and that things kind of suck. And then at some point, like, you suddenly realize that it's not gonna get better, but you have to keep living with that, and you just have to be okay with it. And I think that's the point where you start to cycle and just sort of exist versus enjoying. But like the shitty thing is, like, I don't have an answer for that. Like, I know we're talking about it because it's something that I think about, but it's not like I could be like, oh yeah, this is the thing, but like this is what I've done to change it. Like, no. I'm living in the cycle. I don't have an answer. I don't know what to do to make it better even for myself. So how would I help anyone else? But it is just something interesting to think about. You know, it's like, it's almost nice to know that you're not the only one stuck in that cycle, knowing that like other people are suffering and feeling bad too. That sounds terrible. I don't want other people to suffer, but you know, it is nice knowing that you're not alone in that sort of feeling of that existential, like, repeating of every day, the repetition and routine that life becomes. I don't know. It's something that, like, I feel like I've really struggled with because, like I said, you're young, you're told you can do anything you want and that you can be happy. And then you realize that nothing's that cut and dry, nothing's that simple and straightforward. And even if it was, like, people aren't that straightforward and simple. So, like, the concept of, like, oh, well, you get a job that you love and then you'll just be happy. Like, even in a job that you absolutely adore, you're working. You're fucking working. I don't know, like, there's not, it's not all fun and games. It's not all like really great and amazing. Like, you're working a job, you're suffering through shitty days. You're gonna have days where people are terrible. You have like Karen bitchy ass over here. You have disrespectful people. You have racist and awful people that you interact with, and you have no choice about the matter. You know, like, no one's got it perfect. There's no one that's like living that perfect life. And even if you live that perfect life, it's just becoming a different routine. You know? Like, is it a good routine? I mean, yeah, it's nice, but I'm sure it'll get stale. I don't know. It definitely does feel better to know that, like, I'm not the only one, and even when somebody else is like having a good time, I do feel a little bit better knowing that, like, that's only temporary because we're always wanting something better and more, you know? Like I said, even if you have a perfect, wonderful life and you're very happy, like, there's always going to be the want for more. There's always going to be like, oh, well, it could be better. Oh, well, it's getting boring. It's getting routine. Well, I have to deal with this person every Wednesday and it sucks. So I hate this place, you know? Like, even though it's not that awful, you cycle and cycle and cycle. I don't know. I like variety, but I also like comfort. And I think that's a thing too, is defining the difference between variety and comfort. Because there's, you know, the obvious thing of like people don't like change because they like comfort. But where is the border between where comfort ends and change begins in a way? Like, you know? Yeah, change is difficult because like it's throwing a loop at, or like a ball, what is the word? It's throwing a rock into your routine, you know? It's changing what you've become used to. And there's this fear that it'll be a negative change, but there's always the possibility that it'll be a good change, but it's you're unable to define that at the beginning of the change. You'll only know that after it happens and it's completed. And so like that's really hard. I just saw a beetle fall from up there and just fall into the abyss. Poor little guy. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. You never have control over what's good or bad. It's always just, I don't know, let's see what happens. There's like a ton of risk involved, and like the reward may be minimal in comparison to the risk. So like we live in this state of not wanting change because of the fear of the possible negatives, but also wanting change because we want things to get better. But it's, you're standing on the edge and you have to decide which one's gonna happen. Which risk are we gonna take? Are we gonna take the chance of change and it possibly getting better and us like getting better? Or are we gonna stay where we're comfortable and we know that things won't go wrong? You know? And we could stay here where we're comfortable. Oh shit, red item. We could stay here where we're comfortable forever without any problem. But will that be enough? So I don't know, life is really shittily interesting. I think like too, as like a game dev, like it's, I always look at things from a gamified perspective. And a game design perspective. So it's like designing a game and trying to add these pros and cons and make it like functionally, you know, something that you'd consider. It's hard too, because if you think about taking what I just talked about and putting it in a game, when people look at a game and they think about making these sorts of decisions, there's not much risk actually involved, you know? They could always try again. They could always go back. And like do it differently. But with life, you're stuck with it if you make the mistake. And I think that's why certain games have this like I don't know how to explain it. It's a thing that people dislike. This sort of problem of where they give you a decision, you decide on it, and you have a negative response, a negative impact of it, and so you just redo it, you restart. And so there are like some games where, you know, you won't get a certain ending because you're too afraid of the risk involved with like your favorite character dying or something like that. But in real life you wouldn't have the ability to like undo. So there's some games that have that sort of, ooh, it's a gup, who have that sort of restricted, you know, this is, you've made the decision, you can't undo. I'm trying to think, there's this one game that I remember that like you're a scientist or something and the world's ending and you have to decide to like try and find a cure for the disease or spend time with your family. And you might find the cure for the disease, but your family dies. But then if you spend time with your family, nobody finds the cure, kind of thing. And like if you play the game, it stores a registry key on your, I think it's a registry key on your computer that doesn't allow you to undo your decision unless you know where that information is and can restart it, clear it, so that no matter what you do, even if you restart the game, the information's still there and you've still made that decision. And I think that's what's the most interesting about certain games, that hard and fast rule of you've made the decision, you can't change it, because that feels a lot more like life. So whenever I think about life as a game, I always assume that it's a game that you can't undo things, that you're stuck with the decisions you've made and the losses that you end up with. But a lot of the time that still leads to a good end. It's just different, you know? I have this thing that me and my husband do that I'll when I get depressed and he makes me feel better, I'll say, I don't know what I'd do without you. And he always responds, things would just be different. And like, I always thought that was the most frustrating statement in the world. It always just pissed me off. Because it's like, I'm trying to tell you how important you are to me, and you're just like, things would be different. Yeah, like Dark Souls. And, like, yes, things would be different, but like, I don't want to look at things from that perspective. But I mean, that's sort of like what we look at life as. We kind of look at it as a constant series of decisions, and when we think about the end, we only think about the one possible solution that we've met. And like, or we don't only think of the one possible solution that we've met. We look at all of the different possibilities, and we focus on those things, and the things we mourn the things we lost from the decisions we did not make. Which is interesting and weird, if you think about it, you know? We're essentially mourning the loss of a future that we chose not to take. Which is not inherently wrong, of course. But it causes like this intense disconnect between reality and sort of your mindset and ideals of what the world is. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't all end in death, so just keep trying. I just think it's interesting because when you get to a certain point in your life, like you look back and you're like, ah, yes, I've made the decisions I've made and I have regrets, but like this is where I'm at now. But if we look at it from the other direction, we're so focused on like the possibility of failure and where we could go wrong that we instead become stuck, unable to make a decision. But like once we pass that point and we look back on the decision we've made, we may regret it, but it won't be like, oh, I'm dying because I didn't make the right decision. Like, yeah, it sucks and sometimes it like really hurts and it's negative, but like we just keep going. So we just make the decision, you know? Like you're gonna have to make the decision, you're gonna have to figure something out. And when you get to the point that you've made it and you regret it, like you're just gonna keep moving forward. Yeah, I don't know. Humans are so interesting. Thought processes are very interesting. I sometimes wonder if I should have been, you know, like a fancy psychiatrist or like brain doctor or some bullshit like that. Just because like, I don't know, the mind is such a confusing object, you know? It's very cool. Yeah, I think people's thought processes are very interesting because there's so much difference in certain people and how they process information and how they think about things. I actually was having this conversation the other day with somebody. I was talking about a relative of mine, and they're likely on the spectrum, which is not abnormal. Like there's a large majority of people who are on the spectrum, and it's not a negative thing. It just, in my opinion, it's you process information differently, and you may need tools in order to help you, you know, assist you through life. In the United States, we have the ADA, which is what does ADA stand for? Oh my god, I forgot. Let me Google it. Americans Disabilities Act. Okay, I remembered. Where there's this sort of rule or guideline that you make reasonable accommodations for people. And reasonable accommodation's a very vague term because the idea of an accommodation can vary drastically from one person to another. You know, somebody with visual impairments may have a seeing eye dog. They may have an app that they use on their phone to assist in deciding, you know, figuring out what colors things are and stuff like that. Somebody with a hearing impairment may have hearing aids. They may have, again, an app that helps them define what people are saying. They may read people's lips when trying to interpret the words that they're using. I have a problem where I have an auditory processing problem where I can't always make out what people say. It's not that I'm not hearing them, it's like the information isn't making it to my brain. The words, I hear words, but I don't know what they are. So for me, a lot of the time, if I read somebody's lips while listening to them speak, I can understand what they're saying more than if I'm just listening. Yeah, it's like the words are blurred. That's a really good example. Yeah. It just, it's like my brain just doesn't know how to understand them. And it doesn't make me dumb or anything like that. I just, you know, I've accepted it as a thing that I have. I have tools that I use to help with it, which is, again, reading people's lips and, like, making direct eye contact with their mouth like a fucking freak. Yeah, honestly, not qualified to hear words sometimes. That's such a vibe. But, like, I've developed tools in order to assist me in being able to function in what's mostly normal for me. And a lot of the time, if you are on the spectrum or have some sort of other issue like that, you take time to, yeah, it's like I don't have the secret security clearance, so I can't hear the words. If you know the difference between you and quote unquote a normal person, because I don't really think anyone's normal, but whatever. Anyways, then you have the ability to find the tools needed to make your life easier. But people become so offended at the concept that they're not quote unquote normal. The reason I say it like that is because I don't actually believe there's really a normal. I think there's a perfected ideal of what we assume people should function like. And so like that's what we make that assumption that if you don't fit into that ideal criteria, then you are abnormal in some way. Again, whether it be on the spectrum, whether you have some processing disorder, whether you have ADHD, any of those things. It's just, I don't know, it's weird for us to assume that those things make you abnormal or broken in some way. Like, in my opinion, it makes you just different. I don't know, like, yeah, exactly. You've got to fit into this average Joe lifestyle, this like idea. It's a box that they're trying to put people in, and if you don't fit the box, then you're a piece of shit. It's the same thing with like visuals. You know, if you're not under this weight, if you don't look this pretty, if your eyes aren't these colors, if your eyelashes aren't long enough, if you don't wear makeup, you're disgusting. And it's fucking insane. I don't know. Like, it's very hard for me to understand that. I think the thing is I've met so many people in my life, and like, oh my god, so many beautiful people, and they're not all the same. You know, first of all. Yeah, fit into a box or you're fired. That's actually pretty accurate to how it feels sometimes. But yeah, I've met so many different people, and they're beautiful for different reasons. And, you know, for example, like I said, I have that auditory processing issue. And I also have depression and anxiety and, you know, other issues. There are things that I feel like I might do better than other people. I don't think that I'm better than other people, but I think that there's things that, because of my problems or my differences, have made me better in some ways, or easier to recognize things, you know? I keep a really close eye on body language. I understand like small like changes in people. Like I recognize things like that pretty easily. And I also am very empathetic. I very much am the type of person who does my best to understand everyone's viewpoint. And not everyone does that. There's a lot of people who are just like, no, my way or the highway. And like, I get that too. But I don't think I'd be this way if it weren't for all the problems that I've dealt with throughout my life and all the differences in myself from, you know, what I've seen as the normal. So I think it's a good thing. But back to my point. So there's a relative of mine that is likely on the spectrum. And I feel bad because there's such this inability to want to change or accept the differences that essentially causes them to like block out the idea or concept that they are not the same as everyone, and so they refuse to like try to do things differently, and it's pigeonholed them into this like really negative lifestyle. And I'm not talking like they're a drunk or an alcoholic or anything, it's just they've essentially locked themselves up and been unable to function in what would be considered society today. They're unable to really communicate with people, and don't really have any social skills or functional skills in order to be able to like have a real job or anything like that. And so it's difficult for me because like yeah, they've accepted their lifestyle and they're not trying to change at all. And like, I understand being in a comfort zone and not wanting to change because you're comfortable, but I think it's very hard to make that decision to not change because you're comfortable or to not change because you're scared. I think that those are two very different things. And then the third one is just to not change because of stubbornness. I think that's probably the worst of them all. Fear is a very like obvious defining emotion. You know, it's something we all experience. It really pushes us in a certain direction. It really like prevents us from doing certain things. It's a strong experience that we deal with. But I think that we are able to overcome that in a lot of scenarios, because the excitement, the change, I don't know, there's so many reasons why you could decide that you want to overcome fear, you know? It really could be anything, you know? It could just be because you've fallen in love with somebody, and in order to like actually, you know, experience a relationship or anything like that, you have to tell them, you know? So you have to overcome that fear of interacting with a human. You want to start a job doing whatever, XYZ, and you have to overcome the fear of like people in order to do it. So like a lot of time you're able to overcome that fear. So there's always a chance for change. Even people who don't change because they're comfortable. If something comes along that they're interested in enough to try and change, then they'll do it, you know? The trouble comes from those stubborn people. It's not a lack of wanting to change because of fear or oppression or anything like that. It's they don't want to change because their way is the right way and they're perfect and, you know, this is how it is. Or, you know, maybe they're not perfect, but maybe they believe that this is the only way to do it. You know, everyone else is doing things wrong. Oh, fuck, got murdered. But like, I find that to be the most sad. I'm gonna switch it to Drizzle so I could be lazy boys. Yeah, main character syndrome. Honestly, that's exactly like the point is like I feel like all people have like situations in their life where they experience the main character syndrome, where they feel like, yes, I'm the main character in this story. But then later on they may be like, no, I'm definitely a support character. But so like throughout their story, they'll change roles. It's an up and a down. There's so much variation in their life. But then there's people who are like, nah, I'm the main character all the time. Fuck everyone else. And those people suck. But then there's also people who fit sort of that, I don't know. It's like putting it into words is very difficult. I think there are two different types of people who are stuck in main character. There are, I was gonna say sociopaths. That's true, but that's not the word I was trying to think of. Oh my god, what's the word? I cannot think of the word that I'm trying to think of. There's a word. Narcissist. Narcissistic. I got it. Google saved my life. There's the narcissist. Sociopath, narcissist, self-absorbed fucking pieces of shit. Those are probably the worst kind of people that I cannot handle. I grew up with somebody who was like that. I had to experience it on a daily basis, and it was just nauseating in a way. The world revolves around them, and every decision they make is the best decision. It's fucking terrible. So that's one series of person where they're stuck in the main character syndrome. But I do think there's another variation of that where it's almost like a sheltered version of a main character syndrome. It's the spoiled version is the best way to explain. It's like the lack of want. How does words? So here, let me give an example. Okay, so like imagine you are, you know, a man. You grew up. Yeah, imagine you're a man. Wow. Sorry, the person I'm thinking of is a man, so that's why I used that. But like I realized it just sounded real fucking dumb. Imagine you've got a dick. Yeah. Imagine being a woman. Cringe. No, I'm sorry guys. Let me continue. Okay. So imagine you're an adult man and your life has sort of been living in this protected bubble, okay? You grew up in a place where your every want was given to you. You were fed breakfast every morning, you know, made by your mother. She took care of purchasing clothes for you. She took care of washing clothes, cleaning the house, taking care of all those things. Your dad took care of, you know, working and making money for the household, so bills were taken care of. In school, there was no expectations for you to really do anything. As far as your parents go, school obviously wanted you to fucking do your schoolwork. But if you didn't do it, like, your parents weren't mad at you or anything. It was just, okay, you got a D, cool. You know, there's this lack of, like, expectation that you've grown up with. You have no responsibilities. You have no real criteria or goals you're aiming for. Your existence is that. It's a subtle version of main character syndrome because it's empty. I think for me it's the emptiness comes from the lack of goals or expectations. And that's how I think of it. That's my assumption based on just looking from the outside. And so over time, this is your life, you know? You go to school, you finish high school. Well, you don't finish high school, but then you do your GED. Yeah, right, you just described my life. Well, I think, let me finish explaining and then we'll get to the point. But, so you get your GED, you decide not to go to college, you live with your parents, you don't really work, you like help out your dad's business, but you don't like really work. You don't have to wake up at any certain time, you don't have to pay any bills. You don't have to take care of anything. You have no pets or responsibilities. Like I said, you have no bills to pay, you have no debt, you have no credit cards, you have nothing to worry about. You spend all your day just chilling. Most of the time, you know, sitting on your computer playing RuneScape. And that's your life. You know? There's nothing else involved. You aren't there's no expectations for you. You don't have any goals. You don't have any interests. You don't have anyone to talk to. You don't have any friends, relationships, any of those. Nothing. It's just empty. You're just going through life. And you're the main character in the sense that nothing else matters but your needs. But it's not main character in the sense that you are the most important person. It's main character in the sense that nothing else matters. There's this emptiness with it. And on top of it, you can't change it because you're stubborn and you're scared and nobody's pushing you or helping you change it. It sounds really sad to me. Not sad as in like, ew, he's sad, gross. But sad as in like, I genuinely feel sadness for this person. Because in their eyes, this is their life. This is how their life has always been. You know? So there's nothing wrong with it. They're living in what they consider comfortable because it's the same as it's always been. But in reality, that's kind of a really sad existence. Not because, like, I'm not saying that because they're at home living with their parents, but, like, and not doing anything and just playing RuneScape, because that's not the whole of it. There's more to it than that. It's basically living in a bubble because it's comfortable. Not trying anything, not existing with other people. It's this mindless, closed off emptiness. And so there's this question of, is this person living in this way because they're scared? Are they living in this way because they're comfortable and they don't know any different? That they think this is the normal? Ooh, he laser beamed me real fast. Or are they living in that way because they don't have the tools they need to change? And it's really, really hard to define. Why? Because we can't be inside that person's head. We can't tell what they're actually feeling, how they feel about their life and their situation. All we can do is look in from the outside. And so it's very difficult. And then on top of it, this person definitely has some issues with social skills, the inability to like make eye contact with people, to discuss things. They definitely have issues with information, I guess. It's like I said, they're likely on the spectrum, which isn't a bad thing, but they don't have the tools needed to help them function in a normalized way. And so is it that they're living this way because they don't have those tools and there's no way they could possibly change it? Are they living this way because they enjoy it? Like I said, it's looking from the outside and it's hard to be able to actually give a distinction of like how it is. And then on top of it, the only people that are close, the only people that are semi-close to this person is their direct family, their parents. They're like barely close to their sibling. And so there's this difficulty of like, okay, but their parents have kind of not really taught them that like being different is okay and normal. Like that being on the spectrum is not a negative thing, that needing assistance isn't a negative thing. And so because of that, they think that it's bad. They assume that it means that they're stupid or some bullshit like that, which is like very, very frustrating. not at them, but at societal standards and how the world has kind of built this viewpoint for people. It's, again, they're living in a bubble, so they're only looking at it from the information they're provided. You know, so what are they provided? Well, you know, people using the R word when referring to anyone with any sort of mental health issues and any kind of deficit mentally is, you know, this hugely negative thing, and they're non-functional and they have to be put in a special class and they're not allowed to be adults or real people, you know, and that's fucking bullshit. That's not true. That's not how it works. No, I'm not talking to you, Google. Stop. Sorry. My phone was like, hello? Tell me more. Yeah, exactly. Most parents don't see it as a negative nowadays. And even if they see it as a negative initially, when, like, let's say when they have a baby and they find that there's some sort of difference, there may be some fear involved because they don't want to make mistakes, but it's not like a hate, which I feel like is how it used to be, almost a hate and an intense rejection of them as a being. But like, I don't know, there's still some people who have the older mindset, and like I do still think like society and you know, media still paints it as like this terrible thing. Yeah, exactly. This is not my kid. This is not it. You know, like, as shitty as that sounds, it's this distinct separation. There are plenty of people who have children who have medical issues and have like done really well in raising them and given them every possible opportunity, and that's how it should be. But so I don't think that they're inherently bad for not recognizing, or I don't know that it's even not recognizing the rejection of it. As far as like, no, oh, my child, absolutely not. My child could not possibly be that way. I could understand that to some degree. It's hard for me because it hurts my heart. Like I said, I'm super empathetic. So like, yeah, not accepting reality. Exactly. It hurts my heart because the thing is the sooner you accept something, the sooner you accept a change, you're able to work on it, you know? Let's say somebody says that you smell really bad all the time. The sooner you know that that's actually a problem, the sooner you can like fucking, I don't know, put on deodorant and like try to do something different. But if you don't know that it's a problem, you don't know that it's something that like you just didn't see or didn't realize or didn't acknowledge, then like how are you supposed to fix it? It's also a thing that I have like with jobs about that if it's you know, you can't do anything for something if you don't know that somebody considers it incorrect. You know, you have to be told what's not fitting the standards, what's not fitting what people think it should be. Otherwise, you're just going in blind, you know? And how are you supposed to do anything if you can't tell what there's to do? So I don't see it as a negative. I see it as if you're given the correct tools and you know your issues, then you're able to do whatever you need. Like I said, I've developed the tools to be able to process information better. For me, it just came with time. I didn't even like recognize it was a problem. I thought everyone was like that, and I figured out how to do it myself. But not everything is that way. I had a lot of, like, I had a lot of really bad anger issues when I was younger. I couldn't figure out how to handle my emotions. And it was very, very hard for me to figure out what to do in that situation. It didn't come easy to me. I did not know how to handle it, and I couldn't find a solution. And I did end up getting help with it because I was so scared of, like, being like that forever and not being able to do anything differently. But I had to, like, make the decision to try and make that change. Like, it wasn't handed to me. And like, my parents supported me, and they definitely gave me every chance I could and every option to try and deal with my problems. But if I didn't feel that support, I don't know that I'd have been able to deal with it, you know? Like, I feel like I definitely would have had a lot more trouble dealing with it because I would have felt alone, and really just scared. I think for me, when I had those anger issues, it was very difficult because I didn't want anyone to be afraid of me, but I also was unable to control it, and it like felt unfair that other people weren't experiencing the same thing I was, and that other people couldn't understand me, and that I was unable to communicate what I was trying to get across. And so it just made things worse the longer that it sort of built up and I wasn't able to do anything about it. So the sooner I was able to figure it out, why it was happening, the sooner I was able to figure out how to handle it, and the sooner I was able to feel okay. And it didn't fix things completely. Like, it's not like it was like a magic snap of the finger and suddenly I was never mad again. Like, it's not like that. Like, it definitely took work and stuff. But I think, like, knowing that I wasn't alone, I wasn't the only person having this problem, first of all, and that I could be helped, and that it was okay for me to not fit into what was considered normal, that was like a huge thing for me. Where the fuck did I see the teleporter? I forgot already. Potato brains be hidden. I think it was over here, maybe? Am I wrong? Probably. See the sparkles, but I think it's the other side of the wall. Fuck. Anyways. But yeah, I think... Oh, fuck, it is on the outside. I think it's hard because I wish I could help people more. And I wish that, like, the ability to be okay with change and to be able to, like, approach change was easier, and that people were more supportive of it and helped push people in the right direction. But yeah, I don't remember how I got on this, but my point being is there's somebody in my near family who has been dealing with this, and it's very difficult for me because I do like feel for them really intensely, just because like I'm a huge sucker for people, and I wish that I could help, but it's also like a little bit outside of my zone of like this isn't really a person that I'm super close with or really have the ability to like say much to. But I really wish that I could help them. Because, like, when I look at my life, and I think about, you know, the new year, like I said, it feels like continuing a routine, but it's not a bad routine. It's not great. I mean, like, it's still kind of depressing that I haven't, like, I don't feel, like, super happy every day, but I also feel like that's unrealistic. So, I do feel like I'm happy being here for the most part, most days. And so like the thought of somebody else living in this state of not being able to change, not knowing how to change, and not knowing what good is out there is like really hard. It's really hard. But yeah, I had to deal with them for the holiday, and it was just, I don't know, it was frustrating and sad at the same time. It was, you know, it's rough. It was frustrating because we like had a family breakfast, and you're supposed to get there at like 8:30. This person didn't show up until like 11:30. I can't stand being late. I cannot stand being late. Hey, Hades. It's one of my, like, biggest things. I cannot stand it. I don't know how to put it into any other words, that I cannot stand it. I feel like I get being late maybe at 30 minutes at the most, you know? Especially if, like, something goes wrong, you hit traffic, you get a flat tire, like, there's, like, a reason behind it. But, like, this kid was 3.5 hours late. Bruh. Yeah, I'd rather be 2 hours early than 5 minutes late. I get to every doctor's appointment about 30 to 45 minutes early because I'm so paranoid about being late. And like the anxiety I feel Shut up, Hades, you piece of shit. The anxiety I feel around it is intense. But I honestly, I normally tell my husband that like things are earlier time so that we're not late, because he will be late, but he's only like normally like a few minutes late. But yeah, this person was like 3.5 hours late, and so it was like very, very aggravating. But at the same time, like they didn't see an issue with it, and the people around them didn't see an issue with it, which is mind-boggling to me. Okay? If my mom would have slapped the shit out of me for being 3.5 hours late. Are you joking? I would have been murdered. Like, absolutely not. But like at the same time, when I was young, like I had a lot of responsibilities. We took care of our dogs. We, you know, we had chores. I got a job pretty early on. Like I had bills pretty early on. So like, I don't know. I can't really comprehend the amount of babying that was going on with this person. Like it was like, oh, it's okay, you're late, it's no problem. Come over here, I'll cook you breakfast. And it's like frustrating because it's feeding into the bubble that they're living in. You know? Like, of course they're not going to try and like learn how to handle what their problems are, because they're comfortable and you're feeding into it for them. You know? Instead of being like, hey, go get a job, you're like, oh, it's okay, I'll pay your bills. Instead of being like, hey, show up on time, you're like, oh, it's okay, I'll make breakfast for you, even though you're late and I already made breakfast for everyone else 3.5 hours ago. Like, it's crazy to me. So instead of assisting this person and getting the tools they need to have a life without you, you are essentially making them completely reliant upon you. For me, it leaves this intense fear, and this may sound really terrible, forgive me, I'm not a bad person, but like, yeah, it's literally crippling them instead of helping them. It leaves this point of, okay, well, once those family members pass away, who's going to be in charge of babysitting this person now? Who's going to be a full-grown adult, and they're going to be non-functional? Not because they're stupid, not because of anything like that, but because they're lazy and they don't have the tools needed to be able to like be an adult that functions in normal society. And like, you don't have to be a perfect person to function in normal society. Like, I have a lot of communication problems and I have a lot of issues of making eye contact with people. I don't really like talking to people in person. I really like working remotely, but like, you know, look at me, I work remotely because it fucking works for me. Instead of just shutting down and not doing any of those things, I've found the things that work for me, and I've figured out how to make my life the way that I need it to be in order to pay my bills and live every day. And so like, once those people are gone, is the expectation that we're going to take this adult child into our home and take care of them? Pay all their bills, feed them, clean up after them, wipe their ass for them? Like, what happens at that point? Like, you've essentially set this person up to be unable to survive without you. They are solely, completely reliant on being babysat. Okay, so yes, they worked for their parent, but their parent also doesn't actually have like strict standards they follow or rules that they are required to like meet. So it's not like the end of the world if they just don't show up for work. It's not the end of the world if they're 3.5 hours fucking late. So it's so hard. It like, I don't know. I feel bad because I don't think I'd babysit them. I feel like I'd be much more likely to be like, okay, well, here's here's the website you go to find a job. Get working. Like, here's how you find an apartment. Get to it. You know? I don't know. It feels like especially once you become older, you become stubborn and stuck in your ways. Your brain kind of loses the ability to learn certain new things. That's why a lot of older people tend to not know like a lot about technology or computers and stuff like that, is because they're not really super capable of learning about the new things, and they don't put in the effort needed to be able to like expend the energy to try to learn those new things. Instead they use that energy other places, which is fine. Like, they don't have to learn those new things. It's fine for them to live in that historic point of where they feel comfortable. But for, you know, Oak Age Shadow King, I'll have to look at that game. I don't know what it is. Let me look it up right now. Oh, I have this game. Oh yeah, I could play this game. I should play this game. Ooh, good choice. I think I have it on the PS2. Yeah, I should have known. That's what I thought it was, but then I couldn't remember the actual name of it, so I was like, yeah, I'll play that. But anyways, back to my point. It just makes me really sad, and it makes me feel bad. I don't know. I feel like upset that it's allowed to happen like this. That this person's allowed to, I don't want to say like get away with this, because like I don't necessarily think it's completely this person's fault that they've lived in this bubble for so long and that they think this is just how life is. But at the same time, like, if nobody pushes them to like change it and just like allow them to continue sort of living like this, then nothing's ever gonna change. And since they're not helping them get the tools needed either, like nothing's gonna change. So, you know, I feel it makes me really sad. Used to like, I still like. But yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about it just because the New Year's coming up. I saw this person for Christmas, and like, that is the best use of points. I hope that like, in the future, whenever I finally have kids, if that ever happens, I don't ever want to become somebody who puts them in a cage in that way. It's, I don't know, it's a cage of your own making. But if somebody adds wood to the bars to keep you in the cage even more, then, you know, they're not making it better. Yeah, I did play Jak and Daxter a while ago. I should continue playing it. I just haven't been lazy. But yeah, I don't know. New year, new me, right? Out of left field. This bitch. But yeah. I don't know. I just think about like a lot about people as humans and how they process information, how they think and make decisions. I do think it's really, really interesting. I kind of wish that I understood certain people more. Holy shit, a second red item! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Babe! Just collecting them. I do wish I understood certain people more, but there's also certain types of people that I don't care to understand. But at the same time, like, it does interest me a little bit to understand, like, their... Yeah, right, you're streaming, here's the red items, show everyone our game is great. I swear that it's gotta have, like, some check that's like, when are you streaming? Take these red items early on. Because, like, it never happens when I'm not streaming. I don't know. It's like we were talking earlier about narcissistic people. That's a kind of person that I can never understand, and I can never really relate with. It's probably one of the only... Yeah, right? It's probably the only type of person that I really like can't communicate with and function well with. But I also like have a question of how they become like that. Like, how? I've only ever experienced a life of anxiety and fear and extreme dislike for myself as a human. Because of how society has kind of built up these ideal standards. We talked about them earlier. The ideal yes, exactly, Hades. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That person and the older version of that person. Narcissists. I find it so difficult to be able to comprehend how you get to that point. Even watching somebody become that it's mind-boggling. Because my assumption is you'd always assume that the person who becomes a narcissist because the people around them build that up. They're like, oh, you're perfect, you're the best, you're better than everyone else, you know? That's the assumption, is that they become like that because they're taught that they are that. But it's not like that. Yeah. It's not. It's so fucking weird. It's just like happens. It just materializes their narcissistic tendencies. And so it's like it's very hard for me to understand because a lot of people's personalities right, only get experience life with anxiety, same. Let me tell you guys this today. I had Chinese food for lunch. My husband went and got it for me. I got 2 fortune cookies, okay? One said, "You're the apple of my eye," and the second one said, "Don't panic." And I'm like, bro, what are these fortunes? And the "don't panic" one, I can't stop picturing it in my head. It feels like it was meant for me. Like somebody like looked me in the eye and said, "Jesse, don't panic." It's so targeted. It's so targeted. I have never in my life, and it had a period at the end too, so it was very like, don't panic, you know? I don't know who made these cookies. I don't know when they looked in my my home window, but like they know me. So yeah. It actually AIDS, you have no idea, I put it in a frame already and put it next to my desk. Great minds think alike, right? Yeah, I have a picture behind my desk. I have a picture behind my desk that is it's supposed to be it's an interpretation of anxiety. It's a picture of a woman sitting with a monster, this like big horrifying black shapeless humanoid. I say shapeless and then I say humanoid. I'm stupid. Not shapeless. It's a picture of me, actually. Honestly, same. This just humanoid black figure that looks like it's in pain. Actually, let me make eye contact with it right now. Yeah, and it looks like it's just struggling, and the black figure is supposed to be your anxiety inside of you, your self-hate, your struggle. And the person in the picture is supposed to be the version of you that exists outside of that struggle. And so I put it right under that picture. I mean, it's a good reminder to honestly not struggle. None of the dogs are in here right now. I should do a puppy cam though. Oh, I could use the camera to show you guys here. 1 second. Let me find what I need. Yeah, I could take my headphones off. I forgot I have like a separate mic now. Yeah, the pictures. No, I know. I realized after you said it. But I can't remember if I changed my camera to work with my phone now. Let me see. Do I have to switch to this one to do it? Nope, that's the wrong one. Maybe this one? Nope, that's the wrong one. Let me just... Let me just change it. This one? Holy shit, it's me! These are my plants. Say hello, plants. Let me make this full screen so you guys can see it better. Okay. Oh my god, is the glare only gonna be on that? I can't move my picture any closer. Oh, actually, this cord's pretty long. Can you kind of see it now? The fortune cookie's right there. Oops, whoops, whoops. Cameras aren't my forte, okay? Fortune's here. Let me grab the fortune, I'll show you. Focus. Come on. Focus. See this shit? You see this shit? That was my fortune. What is that? Who does that? Like, what the fuck? Also, here's my mess of a desk. Keyboard. Mouse. Trash heap. Everything else. Actually, here, let me show off all my pictures in my office. This is from Boyd's Vert. That's my Boyd's Vert corner. This is... nice! This is some of my other stuff. This one's really cool. Goddamn glare. Can you... let me change the light. Nope, that did not help. Nope, that didn't help either. Let me just cry about it. Nope, that turned it off. Cool, 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 cool. Cool, cool, cool. Nice, nice. Pro moves. Really killing it. Oh, good. I should stretch while I'm standing. This is, the closet of boxes. This is where I store all my, like, computer boxes and stuff. This is where the dogs chill. This is my pin collection. This is my Omori pillow and my bookshelf. Yeah. Welcome to my office, my hellscape. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is my other workstation where I work my actual my actual job stuff. But yeah, welcome to my office. That was the office tour. We'll switch back to game now. Okay. Let me move my wires around a little. Yeah, right, Hades? Look at it now, filled with shit. Comfort. Let me slide back in. Don't forget to hydrate since we're here. Okay, hydration. Woo, nice. Anyways, yeah, that's my don't panic fortune cookie. That really hit. It really hit home. I mean, I feel like if your office isn't filled with crap, then like you're not living a life right, you know? I don't know, like I have like a lot of like little figures and random shit on my desk and stuff, but like I really enjoy it. It's nice to kind of have things to look at and play with and feel sad about. Like I have a couple of 3D prints that I failed on that like I just suck, so I like didn't paint them or anything like that, and so they're like half done on my desk. Sorry, I'm switching screens real quick. So they're like half done on my desk and I look at them every day and say, I should really fucking do something with that. But like, you know, that's part of life. I think it's nice. Okay, Hades, enjoy your workout. Pick up some hot guys. There's like, I don't know. I feel like such an asshole for saying this, but there are so many like wonderful looking men in the world, and I think that like dumb buff men are like one of the best. They're just so hilarious. Anyways. Oh my god, if I had gotten that fortune telling me my parents are proud of me, I probably would have like cried and then for like a few minutes after, and then I would have immediately been like, oh fuck those guys. I don't need them to be proud of me. So, you know, Hades, you gotta start taking pictures of your oh my god, what's the word for stupid buff men? I forgot. What's the word? Himbos! Himbos! You gotta get me some himbo pictures. Pass it around, share it with the family. My trainer used to be a hilarious himbo, but he also really liked anime. So we were like on super good terms. And I really do miss him. Eric, if you ever see this, you were the best trainer I ever had. And you're very cool for a ginger. But anyways, yeah, honestly, sharing is caring. Oh fuck, that's expensive. I used all my money. I guess we'll go to the teleporter. The monsters not be spawning. Or I'm just too good. But yeah, back to contemplating the future. I don't know, the new year always fills me with like dread because I feel like there's this this like weight that follows people for the new year. This idea that next year needs to be better than this year. That's so rough on a person. Like the concept behind it is fine, you know, the idea of, yeah, let's do better, let's, you know, sorry, hiccups, let's make things great, you know. This year is gonna be really good, I'll put all my effort in. But the way that actually looks and plays out is so different from the way it sounds and it looks on paper. Because a lot of the time it just means that you're very depressing. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes the low bar years do help. I don't know. I feel like for me it's always like I create these goals for myself that are completely fucking out of left field and impossible. You know, it's like the excitement of the new year makes me think that I'm able to do things that are completely unrealistic. And I originally thought that was just a me thing, but as I've gotten older, I've realized it's not. And I feel like it really negatively impacts you as a person to like create these very, you know, unrealistic goals that you're just gonna be sad when you don't meet them. I mean, if you create realistic goals and you're like logical about it, then I think it's completely reasonable to like feel that way. I don't know, I feel like every person I've ever talked to about it like has these fucking insano mode goals where they're like, yeah, I'm gonna learn how to do backflips into a pit of cash. And it's like, where are you gonna fucking get a pit of cash? Who's gonna teach you how to do a backflip? You can't even like bend down because your knees hurt. What the fuck are you saying? You know, like that's my problem with the new year, I guess, is just like I feel like it opens the door to making promises that you're never going to meet, and it just like feels bad. That's true, that's true. It is kind of nice to be able to see people do that. I think for me it's just like the follow-up of them feeling really sad about it just hurts my heart. Just feels bad. I wish that like I could make it so that everyone really enjoyed you know, their new year and was able to do the things that they wanted to do. I just feel like life is shit. Life is shit and I hate it. Wonderful. No, it's we're all always like given the worst. I feel like you have these ideas of like what the worst that could happen is, and like it's always worse than that. Oh, I totally get that for sure. I used to go to the gym 3 times a week. I can't since I've moved because there's no gym nearby me. But I always really loved like seeing a lot of people there. I don't know, but it's also hard because like depends on the gym you go to, if they're like nice people and if like it's gonna stay that way, you know. It's hard to, I don't know, it's hard to put into words. Maybe I'm just a negative person. But like I think about like I've gone to a couple different gyms. The main gym that I went to where my wonderful trainer was at. The original gym, I'm sorry, I can't talk. The original gym that I met him at was not that great. It was a little bit toxic, and like they had trainers, but they rotated through trainers fucking faster than you've ever seen in your life. And so I never felt comfortable because like I would get a trainer and then the trainer would leave, you know? And so it like constantly felt like this cycling of like frustration because it was always starting over, you know? It always felt like I was starting over, which felt bad. It's a lot of stress to continually restart something. It's, I don't know, it's especially hard when you have a lot of difficulty like interacting with people. And so like it was always really hard. Why would you fly into that turret? Like why would you not turret, drone. You're stupid. It was always hard because when new people would come, I'd get very excited. Because I'd be like, oh, more trainers, more people, like, and like, I don't know, this will be the people that continue to come, you know, that will continue to be here when I come here, and I'll feel comfortable around them. But then like they would be gone, and it just really felt sad and disappointing. And then on top of it, the gym was kind of like I said, it was kind of toxic in their mindset and how they treated certain people. I'm not the skinniest bitch in the world. I'm a little bit on the bulkier side, and so like I wasn't treated very nicely, and a lot of times I would get people being like, oh, why is she here? And it's like, well, fucking everyone can be here, sir. But then the other gym that I was at, oh shit, they were so welcoming, they were so nice, it was so good. And like people would come and they'd never leave. It was like their go-to place. And so like I definitely understood when I was going to that gym, when the new year would come along, it was like, yeah, it's, you know, we're getting all these new people and they're gonna stick around, you know, I'll be able to see them and I'll be able to create a comfort zone for myself where I trust these people and I'm okay being around them. But like, I don't know, it's always hard for me because I definitely like picture the worst version of things when I think about it. I don't know, I think it's my fear. We were talking about that earlier, that fear is kind of like a hard thing to get past. Yeah, honestly, fuck those people, really, but I think for me too, it's I have so much anxiety, and so like to have that intense pressure of somebody looking at you and thinking that you're not welcome, it's so hard. But so like whenever I think of people choosing like working out as their New Year's resolution, I always get really sad about it. Not because like I don't think they can do it or anything like that, because my brain always goes back to my experience of like that shitty gym that I was at, and I don't want them to experience that, so I like in my brain wish they chose something else as their resolution, something easier and less painful. But it's not like it's always going to be that way, and I don't actually know what their gym is like, so it could be completely fine and they'll have a great time. It's just my brain goes to the negative possibilities and I get scared for them. But like, I don't know, I think that's the whole reason that I might dislike resolutions in the first place, is that I feel sad when people don't meet them and then they feel sad. I think I'm a sucker. I think I'm a fucking sucker. Oh no! I figured it out, guys. I've cracked the code. No, but honestly, it's I think it's just something that like puts a lot of fear in me because I don't like seeing people disappointed. Oh yeah, 100%. The US is kind of a shithole. People are terrible and they're mean to each other. I don't know, like I said, the second gym that I went to was really, really nice. It was really scary when I first went there because, I don't know, I guess I'm considered petite because I'm very short, but like I said, I'm bulkier, So, imagine just a short, chubby girl coming into, like, this gym, and the gym is mainly for, like, bodybuilders. That's a fucking scary situation, okay? Not that I'm afraid of the bodybuilders, but, like, they all look really good, and I'm over here like a little potato, a little round potato. And I'm rolling around on the floor trying to, like, work out. So, like, a lot of that fear, like, lived inside of me because I was like, oh, I don't fit in here. But they were so nice and they were so welcoming, and they would help me with, like, my form and stuff, and they would talk to me, and they were never, like, judgmental of my looks or anything like that. Because, like, I don't know, I think the hard part for me is with gyms, a lot of the time people assume that you look the way you do because you're not trying hard enough. It's like, oh, you're a little bit chubby, you must eat cheeseburgers for every meal. And it's like, well, actually, I have this autoimmune disease that, you know, makes my body not process nutrients properly, but thanks. You know? I actually work out really regularly and do a lot. I do jiu-jitsu too, but it's cool. Thanks, guys. So, like, the judgmentalness of people. Yeah, true. It's very true. I definitely think my experience with, like, bodybuilder bros has been much, much nicer than my experience with, like, yoga bitches. That may sound terrible, but I'm not gonna take it back. I'm sorry, yoga bitches. You're bitches for a reason. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it's difficult because people have this, it's just assumptions, honestly. It's just, everyone makes these assumptions, they process information based on what they can see. And, like, I don't blame people for that. We've been built that way, you know, since the dawn of time, because it protects us against, you know, lots of different dangers in our lives. When we were, you know, caveman vibes, those assumptions protected us from being eaten by fucking dinosaurs. So... It's not like it's a huge negative thing, but it's very difficult I feel like in today's society, just because of the fact that, like, a lot of what we deal with is community based. So those assumptions can be really hurtful and harmful towards people. And those negative viewpoints and those expectations just suck. They're just hurtful. Because we, like I said, we have this expectation and these assumptions of how people should look, but we also have this assumption of how much they've done to look how they do, you know? Like I said, I'm a little round potato, but it doesn't mean I don't work out and I'm not active, but people assume that I just sit around with a pizza all day, like, you know, I don't. And like, it's hard for people to accept that difference from their understanding based on the information they've collected versus the actual truths of it. I don't know, I think that's the same reason why, like, this, like, whole, like, fake news thing has become a thing, is because people have this understanding of what they expect things to be, and they don't really care about the actual facts. They only care about, you know, what they think based on their assumptions. I think that's why, like, I'm just always scared of everything. I don't know, maybe I should make some resolutions this year. I've been doing a lot for my health lately, which isn't fixing all of my problems, but, like, you know, I'm less dead than I normally am. So maybe I should make some resolutions to, like, do more. I don't know. What do you guys think? What would your resolutions be for this year? This upcoming year, I guess. Progress is always good. True, we were talking about change earlier and how you can't really progress in life and grow unless you take on changes that may be scary. Because comfort isn't always the best thing. Sometimes you need to experience discomfort for things to get better. Where is the portal? I thought I saw it somewhere. I forgot. Where is the particles? Honestly, I feel that. Normally my resolution is, like, survive, stay alive this year, don't experience the death. Oh shit, I died. fell off the side. Ah, what a timing. But yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like it's okay just to have stuff like that too. That's what I normally am, is just like, let's make sure I like experience something. Well, you know, I feel like graduating is very exciting, but I definitely understand the job hunt experience and stress. They're fucking, I've complained about this before, but let's talk about it again because I can't get enough of it. I don't know if it's the same across the water, but here there's this experience problem, okay? Entry-level jobs is a fucking trap. There are these companies that'll list jobs as entry-level, but their expectation is you have like 10 years of experience already. And that's crazy. That's absolutely fucking crazy. And so like, I know for me, when I started, well, before I started looking for, how do I explain this? Words. When I first started looking at my degree, the degree that I was gonna get, one of the very first things that I did was look into job opportunities based on that degree. What the options were that I was gonna have when I finally got to the point of having a job and not working at Walmart while starving to death in an apartment. And there were so many options. There were so many jobs out there looking for the degree that I was going for and looking for the knowledge that I had. And so my brain said, yeah, it's gonna be easy to find a job after school. Oof. That's rough. Yeah, that's definitely a hard situation. I've kind of experienced something similar in that, like, the specific work I do sometimes requires a, certificate. And so you have to pay for this special certificate, but it's, like, fucking expensive and, not easy to get, and it, like, you can only go to the certificate program, like, twice a year. Yeah, that's the bubble that I got stuck in, is that I was either underqualified or overqualified. But then, like, for the overqualified jobs, I'd be like, no, that's okay, I'm fine with getting the lower wage even though I'm overqualified. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, no thanks. And it was like, was that actually the reason that you said no? Or was that just an excuse that you used? Because I think, I don't know, some companies are very, it's assumptions again. You know? They assume that you won't fit what they need because of your qualifications. That sounds dumb because that's what qualifications are there for, but, I don't know, it's... I really prefer, whenever I was hiring people, I really prefer meeting people in person and talking with them to figure out if I thought they'd be a fit for the job, regardless of, like, what their qualifications said. Just to see if they were interested, see where they stood as far as, like, knowledge base goes, and then their want for, like, working. You know, like, were they interested in this work? No, I know exactly what you mean, is there's no jobs. We're having the same issue here. Because I've been looking for a new job because my company sucks. And it's like, I don't know, the jobs that I find are, it feels like they're placeholder jobs, that they're like up there and then I apply to them and I never get any response or any information, and like, it doesn't actually seem like they're hiring. It's almost like they put it there so they could say that they were hiring, but they're not actually. And then, so you're stuck with only these other places that are not exactly what you're looking for, but then they're kind of weird about hiring too, where they're like, no, we're only looking for cheap employment. And you're like, okay, I can do that. And they're like, no, we don't trust you. I don't know, it feels like they're like scared you're gonna get in there and then be like, okay, well, my experience says that I should be paid a lot more. And you've hired me now, so you need to pay me more. But like, fucking what? I don't know. It is... The world right now is really weird. It's in a really weird state. I think in the job market, in just the general, like... Ooh, hello. And just the general function of it, because, like... Yeah, most people just want to fucking get to be able to pay their rent. I just want to be able to save some money. I definitely feel like it's hard. People don't realize that they're fine doing less, or not doing less, taking a job that would be considered less than what their experience is for. I don't know. It's in part just due to like the economy right now, but I feel like it's also in part due to sort of the yeah, I feel that for sure. I think, I don't know, it's hard. It's very hard right now. I know, like, some of the issues that I've been having is that, like, my job is, like, super unstable right now. It could just disappear at any point. I'm a developer, but I work in the mortgage industry. So, like, as far as my job goes, I'm just a programmer. But all of my knowledge lies in this specialized system for mortgage software. Well, nobody can fucking buy houses right now. You know? Like, where are they gonna get that money from? Nobody can pay their taxes right now. People's mortgages are just being, like, falling through, you know? They're essentially unable to get mortgages because of their income and stuff like that. So when you get a mortgage, you have to meet, like, certain requirements and stuff. You have to, like, have a certain credit score in the US. You have to have a certain amount of money and a certain amount of income, because they don't want to take the risk of giving a mortgage to somebody who's not going to be able to pay it back. But the problem is that, like, there are no jobs right now. And even the jobs that there are, the industry itself is so... Just the industry of the world, to be clear. I'm not talking about just the mortgage industry. But everything is so volatile right now. And we're living in a world where people want more. And I don't think that's wrong. What I mean by that is that quiet quitting has become a big thing. Everyone talks shit about it. No, quiet quitting, good, okay? Like, you can't tell me it's not. These people deserve wages that they can survive on. These people deserve the ability to feed their family, to be able to afford a home. And we've been building up this system of not increasing pay based on the inflation. And we fucking shot ourselves in the foot. We fucking shot ourselves in the foot, okay? Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We fucking took a shotgun, we shot ourselves in the foot, then we turned around to the younger generation and we said, you've done this to us. Which, what? What? What, sir? Excuse me? Like... Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. And then, like, the thing is too, the US is currently in a state of not believing in advancement. Oof, that's crazy. So what I mean by not believing in advancement is you get a job at a title, let's say developers like me. You get a job as a junior developer, okay? That's it. That's what your title is going to be at that company. Your title will never change at that company. The only way for you to ever get a raise or to have a title change is to change jobs. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be that you'd work at a company and the company would help you progress through it and you'd get raises. You get raises, you get a title change, you'd advance in the company. But that was also a time frame in which employers cared about their employees. You know, they They were like sad if someone died. They would help you in the if you were struggling, meaning like if you needed to take medical leave, they wouldn't just abandon you. But the world's not like that anymore. We've very much moved into a world of individuality, in that not only are we each individuals, but we're also not connected in any way. So we've got this big joke that companies do right now where they say that we're a big family. We're a family at this company. But that's a trap, and it's unrealistic in how the current standards are. Because the assumption is if you are family at a company, then they would help you to advance. They would help you move forward. They would help you progress in life. They would help you get more income so that you could handle the growth of what a life is. Because if you think about it, you start a job off, the assumption is that you're young, you're living alone in an apartment. Your pay should be between these two values, because that's the standard pay range for somebody who is alone, young, and living in an apartment with, you know, like student debt. Then you progress into a state where you move into a larger home with a significant other of some kind. And you get a raise at that point. You go from junior level to mid-level. Then you get a family. You have kids, you move into a bigger house. And the assumption is that at that point you'd be going into a senior level position at a company. But companies don't give a shit about you. They will lay you off at the blink of an eye just in order for their higher level people to continue being paid way more. So it's unrealistic to assume that you have any way to advance in companies in today's day and age. Yeah, true. Honestly, management at companies nowadays are pretty awful. But they have the same sort of experience. The only reason they're managers is because they moved from one company to another with a high level of experience, and they were hired with the assumption that they could do it. But it wasn't something that they were necessarily super trained for. They're going in blind with the thought that this will make me more money because it's the next level up. Hades, get out of here. I would never screw you over. But, you know, it's stupid. The world is not built in the same way it used to be. And we've ignored the fact that, you know, inflation fucking exists. We've ignored the fact that, you know, the cost of things have gone up. The cost of living has gone up. Yeah, true, Hades. True. You know. Exactly, that's fucking bullshit. Actually, you bring up a really good point about India. Okay, let's talk about this. Because this is something that very much frustrates me. The US uses people in really shitty ways for our own benefit. We've always done it. We always will, because we suck. I don't agree with it, and I don't like it, but it doesn't mean it's not a thing. My company has started hiring overseas workers in India. Now, I'm not against overseas workers. My problem is the company's treatment of these overseas workers. The company specifically hires overseas workers in order to pay them like 1/3 of what we are hired at. The idea is they're in a lower wage bracket because of their living wages in their area. I think that's wrong. If they're doing the same job as me, they should be getting the same pay as me. It's wrong for them to be paid less because of their location, even if they're doing the same work and working just as hard. That doesn't make sense to me. And because of it, the company basically saves a ton of money on it. So they then replace the existing workers with people in India and pay them nothing. Now, I'm not against paying people outside the US or having workers from other countries. That's not what I'm saying. if you get a swap over where you hire all overseas and you lay off all of your local staff, I think that's fine if you're paying the overseas people the same amount. But I think it's wrong to do it just to save money in the company and to treat them less than you were treating your other employees. That's so shit. Because you feel like they can't do anything about it. They're, you know, like, fucking... It's so shitty the way that I've heard it, like, referred to. I remember hearing a manager say once, they're like, oh, well, they're living in squalor anyways, so it doesn't matter to them that they're getting paid less because it's still more than they would locally. And, like, I understand that, but you're still taking advantage of those people. You can't just act like you're not. I don't know, like... It's real shitty. Yeah, exactly. I do think it's, like, not great. I just think it's wrong because of the pay and the mistreatment. I don't know. I think that does go hand in hand with taking jobs from the people locally. I don't like to talk much about taking jobs from local people because it has a lot of negative connotations and a lot of negative, like, relations. I hate the US because we have this thing that we say all the time that is such shit, where we say immigrants are taking jobs from Americans, and I hate that so much. It is such a garbage ass thing to say, because a lot of the time when we say that, we're referring to Americans. We're just referring to Americans who have come there recently. And I think that's wrong, you know? I think that's fucked up. Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's this, like, mindset of us or them, almost. And I don't understand why. I think that if somebody's working hard and they're doing their job, then they should be getting paid for doing their job. I think that if somebody's not working hard, then they shouldn't get paid. They should be fired. You know, that's the other thing, is because, like, my company will keep management when we do layoffs. We'll keep management even if they're the absolute fucking worst managers ever. Even if it's their fault the company is failing, we keep the managers instead of keeping the employees, which doesn't make sense to me because it's basically turned out, it's made it so that our company is now really top heavy. So we have a lot of managers, but no staff for them to order around. And the managers don't know how to do the things that the staff normally do. I fucking hate these guys. They always annihilate me. So it's like, it's stupid. It's just stupid. And I just feel like we just use people and throw them away. Yeah, I do think it's mainly politics that end up sort of feeding that mindset to people. That all of your problems are caused by Mexicans coming into Texas and stealing your jobs. And, you know, they're upset because they're not being paid enough to be able to afford food for their family. And they wanna blame someone. So they blame who they're told to blame. It's just a... It's a... sort of a lack of education. I think I might have... No, I didn't talk about this because it happened during Christmas. Yes. That's definitely a thing that we don't have as much of, but it's similar. The sort of idea that, like, people are aging out of jobs. It's getting to the point where people are retiring, but there's nobody to take their place. And so it's like, yeah, you need somebody to take the place because you need people to do that job. It's, I don't know, the best way you can explain it is, like, when I think about high school kids, people are always like, oh, high school kids cause problems, high school kids are terrible. And it's like, okay, well, you know, You want somebody to work at McDonald's so that you can treat them like shit. And these nice poor high school kids are trying to work at McDonald's, and you're telling them that they shouldn't work there and that they're garbage. But you don't want to work at McDonald's. So who's gonna fucking do it? I don't know. It's you know, you don't want to work instead of being retired. So why are you so upset about, you know, an immigrant working there? Is it really better to have no one? That's absurd. We honestly have like a very big problem here with people being understaffed, and like it's, I don't know, it's all shit. It's all shit. True. People do look down on other people for fucking anything. Just anything. You're a human? Ew. Fringe? Like, and it's crazy. I don't know, man. People do try to survive. It's just, it's a world, you know? It's a world we're living in that we're all just trying to survive and get by. We're all just trying to be able to afford food and pay off our debts and live. And it's so much harder when people fight you the whole way. They spend the whole time talking about how bad you are and how worse it could be and how terrible things are, but they don't try to make it better. They just complain about it. I don't know. People suck, honestly. I do just think that there's like a place that we're living in right now that's very hard. I know a lot of people are like, eat the rich. And to some degree, like, yeah. I mean, there's a portion of society, the portion of the world that's basically hoarding wealth, and then there's everyone below them who is basically just trying to survive, doing the best that they can without any help. And then, you know, they're being treated like shit. They're not being paid enough. And they want to blame somebody for their problems. But you can't blame the rich people because those are the people paying your bills. So who can you blame? You know? Yeah, the Andrew Tate stuff is pretty awful. It's... I feel like we've come into a place where people can feel like they can only find happiness by hurting others or putting themselves above others. And I think that's so weird to me because, like, I don't know, happiness is such a personal thing and it's so different from person to person. So, like, I don't know, I'm happy when somebody gives me the gift of like a weird little figure. I have this frog with a human face. If somebody gave me that as a gift, I would think it was the best thing in the world. Fucking amazing. But then there's other people who are like, I didn't get $100 from my birthday. How dare you? So like the happiness is like very different. It's very distinctly different between people. And so like I think it's weird for us to be shitty to people in order to get happiness from that. I don't know. It's like you have to look down on them and talk shit and basically brag about what you have in order to prove that you're happy. Yeah. It definitely is trending towards that path and it feels bad. I don't know. It's... So, I'm trying to think of the example that I've got in my head. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay. So, everyone has things that they care about, things that are important to them. But I think it's hard sometimes to understand the importance of certain people's things and why they deem something important versus what somebody else deems important. It's kind of like, for me, an important thing is increasing minimum wage and getting rid of student loan debt. you know? I think that, you know, we should be given the promises that we were given, and we should deal with the problems that we have, and that would help the economy by getting rid of that debt so people can spend money. However, there are other people in the world who think that the most important thing in the world is to block gay marriage, to treat trans people poorly, oops, I fell off that cliff. Saved. To push their religion on others, you know? And it's weird because in both situations, we're thinking about the happiness of others, but in two different ways. For me, I'm thinking about the happiness of others not having debt over their head, not looming over them. The happiness of others being able to, you know, like afford their bills and stuff, being paid what they're worth. And to me, that's what's needed to make people happy. But for other people, they think that in order to be happy, they must get rid of their sins and, you know, be religious or something. And the thing is I think we have to reach a point where we understand that our values and our understandings are different. And we just have to shut the fuck up about it, you know? I don't agree with it, but I don't think that somebody deserves the death penalty for not thinking that... how do I word this without getting deleted? I don't think... words! I don't think that I should be treated poorly for thinking that we should get rid of student loans. And I don't think that, you know, that crazy woman from down the street should be treated badly because she's religious and thinks other people should be religious. But I also don't think that she should be trying to force people to be religious. And I don't think that I should be trying to force people to pay student loans or to vote to not pay student loans. The difference is in how we portray what we want. And I don't necessarily mean force as in just like, oh, you have to do this because I said so, because that's not it either. That's not the definition of force that I'm looking for. Force is much more than that. It's making somebody feel like they have no choice. It's making somebody feel pressured. It's making somebody feel backed into a corner. That sort of thing. I think that, yeah, like you said, a lot of these viewpoints come from ignorance or, you know, a lack of understanding. It's like earlier I was talking about narcissists. I don't understand narcissists. I don't understand how they are, the way they are. I don't like them. But if I met a narcissist, I'm not going to get up in their face and tell them that they're a piece of shit for existing, or that they deserve to die because they like themselves more than I like myself. But yeah, exactly. Like you said, if somebody comes up to me and says that all Jews are trash and deserve death, then yeah, I'm gonna be like, I don't want anything to do with you and you can fuck right off. You're a terrible person. Because that's not a value, in my opinion. That's not you thinking that it's something that will help somebody. That's you pushing hate for some reason. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's the thing is I don't know if it's an opinion. I think that's the problem for me, is that I'm having a hard time deciding like how to word it, because it's not it's more of an ideal than an opinion. I don't know that it's a value either, because it's not like, oh, I think a good value is tolerance or bravery. It's something else. And I think that's the hard part of that they're grouped together because we don't know what to refer to that as. But I think it's just hate. Like, yeah, exactly. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Yeah, it's more of a statement. It's more of an emotion. I don't know how to I don't know how we would define it, because I don't know that there's a good word that fits what it is. And I think that's kind of why I have a trouble drawing the line. Because like I said, I don't think that like certain things are that awful, you know? For somebody to say, oh, I don't like religion, I think it's bad. Okay, that's an opinion. For somebody to say all of this race of people should die, that's no longer an opinion. That goes into the realm of just something else. That's because I think an opinion a lot of the time has a lot of backing to it, a lot of built-up reason for it, even if it's wrong. But that sort of feels like it's more something else. Yeah, it's the ideal of the Philosopher's Stone. You know, the concept of being able to create anything from what you want. And that's what people are trying to do, is they want to create anything from how they feel. And the way that they feel is that these people deserve to die, and they want to create that. But that's not how things work. That's not how things should work. In order to make gold, you have to have the right things, you know? You have to have the right situation, you have to have the right minerals. It's not... You can't just murder a bunch of people and get gold. I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. I hope it all makes sense, because I don't want anyone to look at this and be like, Yessie's a racist. She hates trans people and she hates Jews and she's terrible, because that's not it. I also don't really like religion personally. I don't really approve of like the hate that people share in religious situations. But at the same time there are like religious people who are really, really nice and really thoughtful and like do care, genuinely care about others. Regardless of their identity, sexual preferences, you know, any of those things. But yeah, I don't know. It's sad the direction the world has moved in, and I know the US is like a difficult viewpoint. So this is a great example. Okay, so in the US, we have freedom of speech. Of course, everyone knows about that. Freedom to bear arms, freedom of speech, all that jazz. America, you know? There are so many situations of police arresting people for being like, fuck the police. But not arresting people for, you know, saying very aggressive white supremacist statements in the streets. The other day I saw this video of a, it was like 2 people. They were outside of a restaurant. They were boycotting a like local slaughterhouse, I think is what it was. They were animal activists, basically. And I guess that somebody had like released video of like inside the slaughterhouse or whatever, and basically said that it was inhumane, and that's why they were there protesting. They weren't fighting anyone. They were just standing there holding signs. But they were approached by the police, and the police threatened to arrest them. But why, you might ask? And to that I also say, fuck if I know. But we have these, yeah, that's really sad. We have these white supremacist gatherings that are essentially put on at the same time as other gatherings, like Black Lives Matters gatherings and things like that, in order to pressure, deter, and strike fear into the other groups. So you know, there'll be a Black Lives Matter protest, and then white supremacists will show up to try to put pressure on the other protesters in order to kind of get them to leave, you know, to basically make their protest fail in a way. But that's okay. That's fine. But protesting against animal cruelty in a slaughterhouse, quietly and nicely with just a sign, nah, you go to jail. And so it's difficult because we the line is an opinion. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What you've just explained, that it's at the discretion of the police. But the problem is that makes the line an opinion. The line in which we are legally not allowed to cross is now an opinion. It's a moving target. And it's difficult for people to find where the line is and when they're crossing it. Another really good example is Twitch. Twitch's recent whole shenanigans with oh man, words do be the hardest. Artistic nudity. Sorry guys, my brain's melting. The thing is like, I actually love artistic nudity. That sounds really degenerate, but that's okay. I think that there's some really beautiful artistic nudity in the world. I think that art in general can evoke many emotions and thoughts, and can get information across really well. Well, let me tell you about this artistic nudity thing. So, there was a whole shenanigans with women wearing tube tops and then only showing like just above where the tube tops ended, so it looked like they were topless. It was kind of like the hot tub streams. It was a way for them to cross the line on Twitch, but not actually cross the line. They were meeting all of Twitch's rules because they weren't showing anything, but they were still not meeting Twitch's rules, and Twitch started banning people. The reason this, in my opinion, can be a problem is there are a number of body paint artists that do videos on Twitch, where they do a similar thing. They wear like a tube top. Yeah, it's the new meta, basically. They wear a tube top and then they'll do body paint. And it is artistic. And some of it can be really beautiful and amazingly done, you know? Yeah, it's really cool. But these people were all being grouped together as like slutty titty girls. And they were basically, it was becoming a thing where they were like, oh, Twitch is the new OnlyFans. But I don't know. I have like a gray area when it comes to that because I'm not against adult content. I think that, you know, some people enjoy that and they wanna see it, and that's fine. You know? I think the problem is that Twitch doesn't have very defined lines. And so what they did is they thought that they could define lines by adding an artistic nudity clause. I strongly believe their intention was to allow artistic nudity as in figure drawing and things like the body paint. But their intention was not to allow dildos kind of thing. I don't know like how to explain it. But the problem is like No, I agree. I do think you're right, and I think that's the problem with Twitch is that they haven't defined a place for that content, but they also haven't put a hard stop on it. I think that they're trying to toe the line because they know that they're making good money from those creators, so they don't want to ban them like hard. Because the thing is when they give those people bans, it's only like a couple days. Like, if they really wanted to stop that content, they could. But it brings in a lot of money. I just think it needs to be like YouTube, that YouTube has a kid-specific portion of the platform, and then the rest of the platform is separated out in order to protect kids against, you know, accessing that content. I also will say, from my perspective, and this is just my personal opinion, is that parents are the ones that should be in charge of deciding what content is allowed for their kids. I don't know, it's difficult for a parent to watch their kids 100% of the time, but I do think that if a discussion is held, it's more understood. I, as a child, learned a lot from the internet, but I also knew what I was and wasn't allowed to do, and I also knew where the line was drawn. So, like, I don't know. I think that's the problem, is that parents just give their kids a tablet and then walk away. And like, I think if you've set up the tablet properly and you provide them only access to the things that they should be allowed to have access to, then it's fine. But if you're going to give your kids free range and then you find them on Twitch looking at a bikini girl, then you need to realize that that was a you problem. That's not Twitch's fault. And like, that's true. There's definitely like a borderline, because the thing is we're in a state of like a very interesting period of time. Technology is growing drastically. The internet was not a safe place for kids back then, but at the same time, like, we're now in a state of so back then a lot of the problem was not only that the internet wasn't geared towards children, it was geared towards adults. But in addition, adults didn't necessarily have a readily understood... They didn't understand the internet. They didn't understand how it worked. They didn't understand what information was on it. They didn't understand it. A lot of adults at that point in time were like boomers, and it wasn't something they knew anything about, and they weren't interested enough or concerned enough to learn about it. But now we're in a state where like a lot of parents do know about the internet. They probably know more than their kids about the internet, in some cases. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is like, parents back then like didn't really have the understanding or the ability to help prevent their kids from getting into something bad. But like, adults nowadays understand what's available on the internet, understands the risks involved, but then blames it on the platforms because they're not watching their kids, or they're not like communicating with their kids. I don't know, man. That seems like a them problem, not an internet problem. I don't think that we should be blocking everyone else because your kid looked at it. I don't know. It's the same mindset of like, if your kid sneaks into an R-rated movie, does that mean that R-rated movies shouldn't exist anymore? Like, we're gonna take it away from everyone because your kid was a little shit. I don't know, man. You didn't go with them to the movies, you just dropped them off and you expected them to do what you didn't confirm that they were going to do. Like, I don't know. That's a you. Like, yeah. I mean, the thing is today's generation is really smart, and that's good and a bad thing, but I don't know. Back to Twitch. I don't think it's Twitch's fault if somebody's child ends up watching videos that they shouldn't be. I think that's, again, like a parent's fault. I think Twitch isn't necessarily a platform for kids. The content here isn't necessarily like geared towards children in most of what I've experienced. The reason we had the whole Frozen meta on YouTube was because kids' content started to become very popular on YouTube. People were actually making videos for children. versus videos for teenagers and adults. And so, like, yeah, right? So I don't know that Twitch has gone through that yet. Yeah, Elsagate, honestly. I don't know that Twitch has gone through that yet, and I think this is the first growing pains of that. Oh, somebody did a video on this recently. Who was it who talked about this? I don't remember. But yeah, I do think Twitch is going through the growing pains of that. And I think that Twitch needs to define where they stand and what they're doing. And I think that this was sort of a... Yeah, that's the thing, is they're towing the line and they need to decide which side they want to be on of the line. Or they need to decide how they're going to move forward with it. Because it's not working. And them, like, adding these new rules every time something happens, and the rules are, again, just towing the line. I'm not going to permanently ban you for being a bikini girl next to a hot tub, but it's also not allowed anymore. We've just decided. Yeah, exactly. It's true. Like, YouTube and TikTok have, like, had big fuck-ups. Hello, sir. You look like you're gonna wreck me. Please don't. But, like, again, artistic nudity. Their idea made sense. The concept behind it made sense. They did not provide examples, and they did not define it well enough. Artistic nudity is a very personalized opinion. I think it's very difficult to define it in 2 words, artistic nudity. That's not enough to really define what you mean by that. Yes, exactly. The concept is good, the execution was terrible. And I really, really honestly think it's because there was a lack of examples of what they're referring to. And that may sound dumb, but, like, again, body painting. You know? Body painting should be allowed to an extent. As long as it's not actually showing anything. If a woman has pasties on and she's doing body paint, I think that's fine. But, you know, it also depends on a lot of things. Like, is this a channel that mostly, like, does, Let's Plays for children games? Like, no, they shouldn't be doing body paint. Like, now it's not okay anymore. It's hard to define the line, you know? And the problem is that people knew that this line was not clear, and that's why they were doing shit. Like the weird furry stuff, or like a lot of people drew like dicks and stuff, like very detailed dicks, which honestly, like, I don't know, that also toes the line. Like, I mean, anatomy is a really important thing when it comes to art, and you do have to learn how to define somebody's shape and proportions, and you know, drawing them naked helps you understand how they walk and everything, which may sound stupid, but, like, it does help. But I do think that people were testing it because they knew that it was undefined. Essentially, they were like, you're not allowed to use this specific color on Twitch. And people were like, what color though? You didn't tell us the color. Is it this color? Is it this color? Which color is it out of these 2 colors? Because they didn't know where the line was. So essentially they're just, like, playing a game until they find it. And like, I think that's difficult because I think that they did want... I think that people wanted a clearer definition of what was okay and what wasn't. This was them playing with Twitch. This was them trolling them, teasing them. And I don't think they were wrong for doing that, but I do think it had a negative impact. I think that Twitch should have realized that they fucked up, and they should have been like, whoa man, we made a mistake. Let us roll back on it for now. Let us come back with clearer defined criteria of what counts as artistic nudity. Because they didn't give us anything. They were just like, yeah, give us the nudes. And we were like, okay, here they are. And they were like, banned. Banned. So, like, it's a little unfair for them to just ban people and to leave them banned after this whole thing, in my opinion. Even for the people who are just being dicks about it and drawing like straight up like furry porn, I do think that's wrong, but I also think that it's unfair to ban them when your regulations were not clear. And I do, yeah, I understand what you mean. It definitely sucks. But I also, again, that's another thing that like, I feel like it's, how do I explain this? Like I said, words aren't my forte, but like, no, honestly, you're right. They should have, that's how they should have done it. What they should have done is gone to art creators and asked them what defines artistic nudity, and then gone to creators who do more body art type things and asked them and gotten some definitions. Hell, they could have gone, oh gosh, you know who did it? Ross. It's Rubber Ross. What's his channel called now? Let me find it. Let me find it. Because Rubber Ross released, yeah, here it is. Oh, let me get this. Let me throw this in chat. It's actually very interesting. Ross did a video where he essentially asked art professors their opinions on artistic nudity and provided them examples of things that were made on the Artistic Nudity Day on Twitch, and asked them for their opinions. And one of the defining factors from this video that I noticed was that people's opinions didn't line up all the time. There were differences of opinion, but there also was like a very clear understanding of certain things. Like certain things were very cut and dry. Yes, this is. No, this is not. Yeah, right? And that's the thing, is how could a single creator do that and not a super rich company? And the thing is if you watch when you go and you watch the video, there's a point in it where one of the professors says that she, no problem. One of the professors says that she, her grandmother had gone to an art museum that had a piece that had titties out and was like, oh, how vulgar. But that doesn't mean it's not artistic nudity. It's a personal, there's a personal level of where it lands. It's very difficult to define for everyone what is artistic nudity. And then on top of it, you have the issue of what do parents want their kids to see? What is defined okay for their kids? Artistic nudity, again, is a very interesting concept. So like, it's not cut and dry. And there's also the question of like, when people got mad, were they mad because they were like, oh, my kids shouldn't see this? Were they mad because it was vulgar? And like, who defines something as vulgar versus artistic? And that definition isn't the same for everyone. So like, how do you find a mid-ground? It's not straightforward. It's really not. It's so blurry. The world is not built in black and white, and this is just another thing that proves it. Just another thing where we've tried to make things black and white, and it's not working, because it's not how it works. The world will never be clearly defined into two categories of, you know, bad and good. There's too much overlap and confusion between the two of them. So, yeah, I don't know. I like, I feel bad for the Twitch nude gate. But I also really hope that they don't drop it. Welcome back. I've just been babbling about nudes. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I do feel really bad about how Twitch nude gate went. But I really, really hope that they don't drop the ball and just abandon it, honestly. I feel like they are going to, that there's nothing we can do about it, but it's really sad. I think that it's a really difficult place though, because I don't know, any kind of artistic nudity, there's a likelihood of parents being like, oh, not my child, they can't see that. So it's like, when what is gonna make people happy? Also, I'm sorry, my dogs are playing in the background, you'll probably hear them. But like, yeah, it's true. They do have the means and resources, and they also should communicate it pretty well. I do feel like it kind of came out of left field, you know? It wasn't something that was, like, talked about. It wasn't something that they, like, really... It didn't feel like they did any research on it. It feels like one boss man was like, yeah, let's do artistic nudity. And everyone was like, oh, sure, yeah, boss, no problem, boss. We'll do what you say, boss. And then it went through, and the other bosses were like, who the fuck did this? And the guy's like, oh man, these employees, they should have known better. And it's like, this was not thought out. This was not discussed with the community. It was not really put in a place where it could have succeeded. It was 100% set up for failure. There is no way it would have succeeded in the way that it was presented. As much as I would have liked it to. It just, there's no way. It wasn't geared up for it. And I hate that so much. Yeah. And like, I feel bad for the artists out there who were very excited about it and actually used it responsibly. I don't know, it's something that like I have a very difficult time with because I really love art. And as an artist myself, like I want artists to be able to present their work and their emotions and their feelings, and it feels sad that that's blocked out and they can't do that. But at the same time, like, what the fuck was Twitch thinking? Why did they do this in the way that they did it? Like, honestly, it was crazy. I just, fucking insane. Absolutely insane. I think that they need to like take a minute and like look around them and open their eyes to the world and maybe communicate. I really find it unusual how platforms do not communicate with their talents, I guess you could call them. Because even YouTube went through a period of time where they did not communicate with their biggest creators. And it sucks. It really, like, sucks. Yeah, exactly. It makes me sad. Like I said, I really like art. I've done art all my life. I've enjoyed art all my life. I've had variations of types of art that I've liked. And I really hate the fact that some artists that I like were banned for this. And when Twitch pulled back on the regulations, they didn't unban those people. And like, in my opinion, some of those people did nothing wrong. They did what Twitch said they could. They followed the rules. And so it's very hard. I like a variety of different art. I like very macabre art, very like pastel princess art, you know. I have a huge variety of art that I like. Even gore art I think is very interesting. And I think artistic nudity is really, really nice and can be done in a really pretty way. And, you know, I think that it's very sad that things happen the way they did. I hope that they try again, but I have a strong feeling they aren't going to, and that makes me really sad. Very disappointing, because I think that it could be a big step forward for art. There's so much out there, honestly, that I think is art that like people just haven't gotten a chance to experience that they really would like and enjoy. I mean, gosh, you guys saw, I have so much art on my walls. Yeah, right. Well, the thing is like up until I moved out of my parents' house, I never had any art on my walls. My parents never had any art on their walls. Like, we were just a family who didn't have art. And like, I drew a lot and I made a lot of art, but I never hung any of it up. And it wasn't until I got here that I was like, yeah, I want to put art up. I want to look at the things I love every day. That I started putting it up and looking at it. But yeah. I hope that Twitch doesn't fuck this up. I hope that they try again. Ooh, a clockwork frog. That sounds really cool. Yeah, I've got a lot on my walls. We recently started going to a makerspace. I'm gonna change my screen. We're gonna end soon, but I'll babble for a little bit before we end. I recently started going to this makerspace, and they sometimes do art auctions. And I bought these pieces from this art auction that are so fucking nice. They're so nice. They're let me actually see if I can find any pictures of them. Because it seems so simple, but they like really touched me. Not like emotionally, but almost like nostalgia. They just really felt like home, sort of. I don't know if I can find any pictures of them. Yeah, no problem. I'm happy I got to stream. I like streaming at the end of the year. It's always like, it's like a refresher, you know? I think that it's always hard for me because like I don't do much for the new year. I think if I hype it up too much, it'll just make me real sad. So I tend to like keep it really simple and just go with the flow. But I wish that I was better at being happy for the new year. I know like a lot of my friends will get together and do stuff, but like, I don't know, I'm always uncomfortable with the new year. It's like the start of a new life sort of thing. It's a new day, and that's not the best for me. I don't like that very much. I don't know. It's it's hard to explain, but yeah, it's just, it always stresses me out. I'll have to find the pictures of the artist that I got some pieces from at this auction, because they were really, really cool. They're like sunset pieces, and they're like a very beautiful sunset with very dark black power lines going through it. And it just like feels very nostalgic and relatable. It just feels like the past in an art piece. But anyways, I am glad to have chilled with you guys today. I may stream tomorrow. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. I'm not going to be doing anything and I don't have to work, so, you know, I might. But I hope that I will see you guys next time. Make sure to follow me if you feel like it. And I also post my VODs on my YouTube channel. You can find the link somewhere down below. So check it out. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye.